Oh, welcome everybody to the Great Metal Podcast, episode 86. Guys, there is a new entity on the rise, and we don't know whether it's friend or foe, but it could mean the death of music. Now, before we talk about that, though,
dun, dun, dun.
We have some breaking news. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen this. We're gonna start the show off today in the most controversial way possible. Let's talk about Nazism and fascism. Let's do it. Let's dive head first. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Roger Waters is being investigated by the German government right now because the swastika is illegal in Germany. You can't publicly display a swastika. And so, but since 1980, he's always dressed up like as a Nazi when he's performing The Wall. Yeah. So he did a show this week in Berlin, and here's what he wore. Here's the outfit. So it's Nazi-esque, but instead of a swastika, he's got it looks like two hammers.
Well, that goes back to the original artwork too. Of
the wall.
They have the hammers in there. It's very reminiscent of the Nazis, but not specifically. Yeah.
Well,
getting in trouble for this
are these hammers walking, and if you look up the music video for some of that era stuff.
It's been so long since I've seen it, but he's being investigated by the German government for potentially inciting violence. And of course, he put out a statement and he's like, I have been doing this with this same or very similar outfit since 1980. Like, why is this an issue now? Right.
Yeah.
And so, but he said, my recent performance in Berlin has attracted bad faith attacks from those who want to smear and silence me because they disagree with my political views and moral principles. And then he goes on to say, he's like,
David Gilmour, who's bitter about getting kicked out.
Gilmore's like, go after Waters.
Damn you,
Look
Dave.
at that. Yeah. Yeah. But, I'm 100% on Roger Waters' side on this one. Just because you dress as a fascist, he's not a Nazi. He's so anti-fascist. He always has been. He's a big free speech guy. And
tear down the wall. I mean,
exactly. Yeah,
that's some goofy shit.
Yeah. So anyway, we're pulling for you, Roger. Hopefully the Germans don't throw you in prison. Now, and this is another exciting thing here going on. It was just announced this week. Keanu Reeves is putting Dogstar back together.
Okay.
Bass.
And they're going to start touring again.
Bass.
Yeah.
Is it called The Matrix? Is that their band name?
Oh, man.
Or the Red Pill? Maybe.
That would be interesting. I don't know how to get the picture. You did this the other day, Pete, where you got the pictures permanently.
You got to do present. And then you gotta go and present it. Yeah. Screen
This is
share.
so hard. This is so hard.
Technology. You need to get
what
AI to do it for you, Luke.
That's what
Machines are taking over. They will enslave us.
Ooh.
Yeah. But have you guys ever heard Dogstar?
No.
Back in the day, they have not played live since 2002.
I haven't even heard of Dogstar. Do they play metal?
Oh, it's like rock and roll.
Okay.
I don't think it's real heavy.
Does Keanu sing or just plays bass?
I think he just plays bass. They had another singer. I think this is the original lineup. There was three of them. It was bass, guitar, and drums. And I think the guitarist sang maybe.
Do you have a clip?
But
I've never heard.
I do not have a clip. I should have grabbed a clip. It would have been an old clip because they have not played since 2002. Singer guitarist Brett Domrose and drummer Rob Mulhouse. So anyway, they have a new song coming out called Glimmer. So we'll have to check that out.
Single.
I am a big fan. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Reeves, and he's got the whole John Wick
acting, right?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, he like, I love a lot of the stuff I see of him on social media. I don't think he does social media, but a lot of people post stuff about him. He just seems like a cool dude.
Everybody loves Keanu. Like, I don't think there's a single person on this planet who hates that guy. What it is he just stays out of all the drama. Like, he never gets involved in, the mud fights. And so everybody just loves him.
He does not put on Nazi uniforms and run around Berlin. He doesn't do it.
Oh, he should put on Matrix uniforms. He should wear his black overcoat.
Yeah.
Do it, Keanu. Do it for us.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. So best of luck to Keanu. I'm excited to hear this. Maybe he's going to convert and go, hard metal, heavy metal. I don't know.
There was some metal tracks in the Matrix, wasn't there? There was like Rage Against the Machine was in the soundtrack. I think maybe Marilyn Manson. It had like a metal sort of feel to it.
But it's kind of a hardcore movie. I feel like
incredibly influential film. Like to this day, it's just everybody loves the Matrix.
Particularly the first one.
The first, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah.
2, 3, and 4. There are some split opinions about those movies.
Oh, definitely.
Now there are no split opinions on this next piece of news. Rob Zombie is making a new album, and this really, really interesting. In this interview with him, he was talking about how he does not like to write music as a band. He likes to work on the writing process solo, which is really interesting because Metallica just said the exact opposite. James Hetfield, like a couple weeks ago, was like, it's not just me and Lars. He's like, it's boring when just me and Lars write music now. He's like, I want the whole band involved. He's like, it adds so much of a different dynamic and everything. You get better ideas, all this stuff.
I wonder though if that's like how they actually do it, because I would think it'd be very hard to like actively like to write the bones of the song in a group. But if you take the bones of the song to the group, it might develop into a new song. Right? Like, but if you come with no bones, then everyone's like, oh, maybe we should do the key of A. And it's like, no, let's do the key of F sharp minor. And it's like, I'm going to play this beat. And it's like, I'm doing something totally different over here. It's like, if you bring the bones and then everyone like fleshes them out together, it seems like
it's a totally different process, solo versus in a group. There's a lot of footage. Metallica like films it every time, like the studio writing process. It's funny because like Kirk can never learn James's riffs. It's very hard to get his riffs down. He's constantly failing on that. And then you got Lars and James just vying for control. They're both trying to drive the bus.
Yep.
And then Robert's just like, eating his snacks in the corner. He doesn't get involved.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I'll get there when you guys are done. I'll just hop in when everybody's done. Yeah.
That's the low bassist.
Yeah. Well,
but what is that even? Does Rob, is he a musician? Does he play? Well, of course he's a musician, but does he play an instrument, I guess?
So this is what he said. He said, I haven't stood in a room with a band and jammed on ideas since the early 90s because I just always found that to be really draining. I like working with one guy behind the board and we formulate ideas and you piece it together kind of like you would a movie. It's kind of similar as opposed to a bunch of guys jamming all day long. And then you're like, anyone got any ideas? And they say, not really.
So he's talking about working with a producer.
Yeah.
Like Bob Rock and Metallica. That's kind of the workflow. But I just wonder like what that would look like if Rob's just like, okay, I'm thinking like, a bunch of dead corpses for this song, like 1,000 of them, right? And, like what would that sound like? And they're just coming up with ideas, concepts, or is he actually thinking about song structure where it's like, okay, we're going to start in this key and then we're going to have a guitar riff here and then blah, blah, blah. I don't know how specific it would get, but
it's hard to say. We should ask him because there's no right or wrong way, right, to write music. And so, he prefers to do it alone with the producer. Metallica apparently now likes to do it as a full band jam thing, John Petrucci and Jordan Rudess have done it both ways. And so, but I think that generally speaking, the more ideas you have, the better. I can get so stuck on like a line and I'm like, okay, it's got to be something similar to this, whatever. And then like, Scott, you've heard some stuff in the past from me before.
Like Britney Spears. I'm trying to make it exactly like WAP. I know that's hard for you, Luke.
That is hard. But somebody else is like, try this or try that, whatever. And it can blow the world wide open, So I guess, I like being more collaborative. I just don't have any friends but you guys. And we don't live together all the time. So it's hard.
Lonely.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited to see some new Rob stuff. I'm a big fan of his older stuff, like Dragula.
Yeah, if you can write another song like Dragula, okay. Oh. Now we're talking. His last record, I don't think was a Dragula, but and that wasn't even that long ago. Like he's pretty.
It's 2020. I think it was 2020 was his last one.
I guess that's 3 years. Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, it's freaking 3 years ago.
Rob.
Get back in the game. You're out of the game if you haven't released anything for 3 years. You've been releasing things every 3 days.
Well, the problem is everybody focuses on albums. Gen Xers and Boomers do. Rob's a Gen Xer, so it's singles, boys. That's what we're doing now.
Singles. And now you might
for like 69 years and write an album. Just give us the singles.
The thing is, today, you might not even have to write anything at all, which leads us into the hot take. Here we go. So let's talk about this new potential enemy. It's called artificial intelligence. Ooh. Oh, boy. This is a big one. Guys, because here's the thing. So I've been screwing around with one of these artificial intelligence music
AI,
generating.
Luke?
Yeah.
No, you can
it's
start
very
a relationship.
It's very safe. Yes. No
AI girlfriend. Yeah, you're not going to get an STI.
no STIs.
But you might get an AI.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, so the one that I've been playing with, you can just give it moods. It'll be like, pick one of these emojis, and I pick like an emoji with a party hat, and then it's like, how long do you want it to be? And I'm like 30 seconds, and then it's like, you pick like those type of inputs, and then it spits you out a little song. And
you're talking about writing music. So
right.
So, okay, interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about AI generated music. This is happening now.
With, like the actual audio, or just like chords over words and stuff?
Nope, it can do it all. So here's the thing. Here's where we have to start at the very beginning, and this is literally the sound of my childhood right here. Oh. Okay. So yes. we're talking MIDI.
Nostalgia.
Oh yeah, 8-bit MIDI. That is literally. I grew up. That was like the best music. Like now, I liked 80s metal and stuff, but come on, 8-bit MIDI music from video games. So this idea of like computer generated sound, computer generated music is certainly nothing new, right? But I think there was a human mind that was telling the computer program, what notes to play in what order, and the human mind was composing it, and then the computer was just generating the sounds, right? And historically speaking, we've always created technology to replace human labor, and then humans could focus on creative and intellectual pursuits. Well, now what's happening is the computer programs can write, organize, and generate the music all itself. So you don't need a human being to make music anymore. Now, again, if you go back to like the 90s and the 2000s, you had things like auto-tune, right? Which now we can take somebody that has no talent singing, I could go down the list right now if we want to. Justin Timberlake. And all you have to do is run his voice through auto-tune, and it sounds like he's talented. Now, when you give Justin Timberlake an award for singing, when it's a computer that actually sounds good and not him, that's when the lines start getting really blurry, right? But there, I think, Shred, you use like Pro Tools, and which has like music effects and all this kind of stuff. And so like, where is the line drawn, right? Now, the lines are coming out. So I could only find 2 interviews with metal musicians talking about this. So one is Corey Taylor, and he's on one side of the line, and the other one is
Slipknot lead singer.
Yeah, lead singer Slipknot. And then M. Shadows, the frontman of Avenged Sevenfold, he talked about it on a recent podcast, and he's on the other side. So here's what Corey Taylor had to say.
Have you seen your duet with Rihanna?
No, I have not seen it. I don't care for any of that crap, dude, to be honest. Like, I don't know what people are trying to prove. Are they trying to prove that computers can do things just as good as people? Because if so, then what's the point? I mean, it's an even worse example of technology taking over for talent than what I've been ranting about for years with Pro Tools and tuning and using the same in sounds and just and people
He's getting
keep
mad.
Going,
He's
oh,
pissed.
Cool?
He's
Like,
getting
no,
pissed.
it's not cool. What are you, out of your mind? What? Suddenly now we have no talent. The only thing that we're going to get that sounds cool and new is from something that doesn't even exist. Screw you, man. I can't. Every time people get stoked in front of
This
me
is
about
level
AI,
69
I go,
boomer.
you're not talking to the right person. You need to go over that way and talk to a dipshit who doesn't care, because I hate it. I can't stand it.
Strong feelings.
Cringe.
Yeah.
Cringe, Corey.
Strong feelings from Corey. But I mean, I think the issue that he's talking about has some legitimacy, because, if you're talking about, say, copyright issues, because what AI does, the reason why it's called intelligence is because it learns, right? So what you can do is you can just load, 1,000 Metallica songs in there, and then what it's going to do is it's going to
Load in
take
the
all
Load
that
album from Metallica.
load,
Perfectly
and then
set
you
that
can
up, yeah.
reload,
Mm.
and then it's going to just spit something out that it's taking and copy and pasting and moving things around, and it's its own version. Well, is that a copyright violation? Because it's not the same exact thing, but it kind of is. So, I mean, I can understand if this is your business, if this is your industry, this could be a threat. This is a threat to Corey Taylor.
I mean, the
Right?
truth is, though, is regardless of how you feel about it, it's going to happen anyways. It's kind of like being anti-internet. Okay, fine, you can be that way if you want, but regardless, it's still going to be a thing, and there's nothing you can do. I say, embrace the machines. Let's love each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think M. Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold, he's maybe got a take very similar to what you're saying here. He's excited about it. So here's a little clip of an interview he did.
The macro is kind of, how do we feel about creating things that can suffer? How do we feel about creating things that can ultimately get much more intelligent than us, destroy us, et cetera, et cetera. But for now, for this conversation, if you're looking at purely this data brick of taking information and regurgitating it to us in some way, whether it's through music or art or novels, literature, whatever it is, right? You've basically taken everything humans have ever done or discovered, and you're giving it to this thing that can distribute it to you quicker and in a different way. It can mix it up and do it in a different way. I think if you actually look at music, most fans aren't mad that all the drums are already being resampled and replaced. Pro Tools already will quantize your albums and make it perfect. You can auto-tune your voice to do all these other things. but for
Nobody
some
can
reason they
tell.
have a problem. And by the way, if you think about how you write music, it's like you're going into your own database of I've listened to Bach, I've listened to The Weeknd, I've listened to Kanye, I've listened to all these things, right? And now I'm going to
I haven't.
regurgitate it in this way and spew out my own version of that. AI can be
Luke, your
incredibly
ears
useful
are pure and
if you have
unviolated.
AI doing some of that work for you, right? Give me 20 versions of this chord change, or give me, I want to hear a different top line there, and you take a little thing that interests you and you go somewhere with it, right? So now you're using AI to not only spark ideas, but you're using it in a much quicker way to kind of get to some of these cool little nuggets of gold.
Just
And
using it to do all the bitch work. That's all it is.
Exactly. And he goes on to say exactly what you said, Shred. He's like, look, what we learned from Napster is that this is happening one way or the other. So we can figure out how to use it in a productive way, or we can fight it and lose. Like, that's the reality of the world. And
there's no sense in getting your ego involved because it's irrelevant.
yeah.
Especially to the AI.
yeah.
It really
Skynet
doesn't care.
Skynet does not
Skynet
care,
doesn't
man.
care. No.
Yeah. Now, so this has actually been going on for quite a while, but it's not in its purest form yet, right? This is a new technology. It's decade old, maybe, that kind of thing, like music generated AI music. So here's an example of some music that was created by AI back in like 2016 or something like that. This is from a group called DataBots, and it's called Eternal.
Oh no.
It's called Luke has left the chat. Whoa,
Okay,
what was that?
It's pretty messy, right? Because it's like, so what DataBots does is I think they load like thousands and thousands of metal songs into a program, and then the program spits out what it thinks is metal. And that's what you got, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. It's a mess, right? I mean, it's
that was all AI generated, no human elements there.
Correct. Yep. All AI. And it's so the music, the lyrics, the
Play
vocals.
the clip like one more time.
You actually want to hear that again?
Yeah,
Okay.
Need another ear violation.
I mean, the samples come from somewhere, right? So presumably the actual sound it's generating, it's like your drum samples, right? There was originally a recorded hit of a drum,
Sure.
right? Yeah.
Of course. Yep.
Yeah.
No, it has the data. It's just putting it together, right? Okay, so here it is again. I mean, there's
I have heard bands that sound like that.
no. It's true, right? I mean, it's similar enough to where if you didn't know that was AI, you would just think it was just some crazy band, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
if I heard the whole song, I can make a better judgment. But just from that short clip, I can tell that AI doesn't understand like composition structure. Like it's just, there's nothing there that's really cohesive to repeat and build on. It's just like a bunch of like snippets of small random ideas that aren't connected to each other.
And that's what goes on for like 4 or 5 minutes, and it's constantly changing. It's like a collection of like 500 random licks. It's the weirdest thing.
That's how people tend to write, by the way, as beginning composition students, is they tend to just have a series of unrelated ideas, much like this AI is doing.
Well, that's what I was saying, Scott. Like I've heard bands like this. Not even some people don't have an idea of composition elements.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Now, so you know, that is like that's a pretty extreme example, and that was like you know, earlier on. So here's a clip. This was from, I'm not sure, 1990 or 2019 or something like that. This is a chick called Lolly Hartfield, and this is an AI generated song that she put together.
That's
So
pretty cool.
it's definitely better. Like
Yeah.
Used
it's
to
more
learn how to
melodic,
mix
right?
a song, but
When you
kinda
said she
fun.
put it together, do you mean she like programmed the AI?
So
Or what
I
do you
don't
mean?
know the story behind this one. I found her channel and she was like, this is an AI generated song. I mean, she posted it, right?
Okay.
So but supposedly an AI program wrote and generated that music.
okay.
It's still pretty random, right? You know, like there's a lot happening, but it's much more cohesive. Like it stays
yeah.
in the same key, and you know, it like you know, so it kind of evolves a little bit, but it's not just like a whole bunch of random noises, like you know the Data Bots one was.
Yeah.
Now,
making
so
progress.
Get to the real good stuff.
we're gonna
Where-
get to the
where are
real
we
good
going?
stuff. So here's the thing. It's so there's this group. I think they're out of Sweden, but I don't actually know. But it's a group of 10 computer scientists that wrote their own AI program, and some of them are musicians. And so they said, "Hey, we don't want to teach this thing from you know existing copyright music." So they played some music to teach the AI program. And then they had the AI program. They built this entire mythology around it. So it's a band of orcs and they all play instruments and they sing, but AI generates the character, it generates the video, it generates the lyrics, and it generates all the music. And so this is a group called Frostbite Orc Kings. And this is perhaps one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Here's a little clip.
Oh boy, here we go. Oh no! Look out,
Oh,
Corey
man.
Taylor. Corey, this
Nah.
is hitting close to home here.
And let me just say this. If this is what we can do, I would rather live in a world where this exists than live in a world where it doesn't. So I'm totally comfortable with AI because it can produce stuff like that. That's really good, right? Now that takes a team of 10 computer programmers, right? Computer scientists that are programming this AI to give them specific results. But the AI is generating it all. And it generated an entire backstory. It's like they're from this northern lands in this world called the Metalverse. And it's fantastic. It's
That's
so good.
amazing. Anybody just listening to the audio should go look at it because the video is really good too, and like the CGI is amazingly well done. And
Top notch.
There's a drummer riding a drummer orc. There was the one drummer orc sits on the giant orc and plays like the cymbals, and the other orc plays like the bass drums. It's just
How many
a ton of fun.
views is that getting, Luke?
So,
Does it get some
oh,
attention?
great question. I should check real quick. So,
The
and
other
and
thing
it's-
Things are
while-
so screwed.
While
We're
you're
so
checking
screwed.
that just think about what you played. It's was it 2016 was the first clip?
I think it was
Data-
2016.
Yeah,
Databots,
and then
yeah.
2019, the next one, which was starting to sound a lot better, and then now we're getting whole music videos and songs that sound like songs. The thing about this development of AI is that it gets faster and faster and faster, because as
Yes.
AI helps people work faster, it helps develop itself faster. So it's kind of crazy
We'll
how
all be
quickly
making
it's
orc
moving.
metal in like 2025.
Or whatever
Yeah.
kind of metal you want to make, right? If you want to make like
Right.
Sugar Plum Fairy metal with a deep backstory.
Yeah. Yep. So that video, it was released 2 months ago. It has 316,000 views.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Doing really
But
good.
Frostbite Orc Kings, they only have 6,000 subscribers. It's a very new project. But it's gaining some steam. If anybody knows Nick Nocturnal, he's a big metal YouTuber, podcaster. I think he's a podcaster, but I think he has videos on YouTube.
He does-
He's
yeah, he
big.
does both.
He did an interview with these guys, well, the main guy, the main developer or whatever. And you should go watch. It's really fascinating stuff. And Nick has been talking a lot about AI generated metal recently. He's one of the only ones. Not many people are talking about it yet, live. Like everybody's talking about it behind the scenes, right? But I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the hot take. I think AI is fantastic. I agree with M Shadows. I unfortunately, Corey, I disagree with you, man.
The machine.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it is a tool. It can probably be abused in some ways, but it's not going to go to jail. It's going to roam free forever. And I love it. I mean, some of the stuff you can do with it is just fantastic. Frostbite
Look, I
Orc
thought
Kings,
we were going
man.
to get a debut of one of your AI compositions.
So I mean, I could show you what it is. It's a really goofy little thing. And again, it just spit this out to me. It's not metal at all. I will be working on it though. I mean, I'm going to play with this program. I
Don't
just
you
started
dare
playing with
play
it
something that
yesterday.
Isn't metal.
Right.
It's
No,
not
that's
metal.
exactly right.
Nip
But
your
that
nuts.
was like the thing, like, because I've been traveling and I'm like, okay, I don't have my guitar, I don't have my amp, I do have my recording equipment. And so I've got like a bunch of these songs that I have like partially recorded. And I'm like, well, how could I finish some of this stuff? And that's when I was like, well, maybe I can do some stuff with AI.
Are you
to like
feeding
fill in some of these gaps.
Yeah. How do you do that? You feed it like I have this song, here are the chords, finish it.
Yeah, so exactly. That's one thing you could do, depending on the program. But you could load your own music
Problem is
and be
you
like,
can't-
add drums to this,
Can
and
you
it'll add
upload-
drums.
So you can upload files to
Yes.
this AI. I can't.
Yeah, that's what you have to
You
do.
can't upload files to Chat GPT, can you?
I have no idea. I haven't used
I
ChatGPT,
don't know.
but there's a whole bunch of
huge plus to be able to upload, because then you can really have a conversation with the intelligence about
Yeah,
what you're creating.
absolutely.
for a
So you can
collaborative
upload a file, and then you could say, add this instrument doing this type of a thing, like add a flamenco guitar. And then it'll do it. Now, it might not be what you want. And then that's when AI gets really hard to deal with, because you have to be able to communicate to that AI, and the AI is not
Maybe-
intelligent, right?
Maybe
And so you
should-
have to-
send me this one, because Chat GPT is not very musical, as we discussed earlier.
No,
Like,
there's
it's
like
always giving me
10.
the wrong tabs, and just
Yeah,
all
there-
kinds of wrong, not just a little bit.
You should try Bard too, the Google one, see if that's any better. Because it's plugged into like YouTube and stuff, so you could like
Yeah.
ask it for things. And like the one guy asked it, like, did they like, do you have access to YouTube? It was like yes, and then he was like, do you have access to this YouTube channel? It's like yes, and then asked him questions about what that YouTube channel was producing and things that people said, because it's got like transcripts. And so if you said like, do you have access to like Nightwish's YouTube channel? And it's like, yeah, it's like, tell me how to play this song, and see what it comes up with based on that.
Right.
Yeah, there's about 10 bigger names in the music generating AI programs. You could also try DALL-E, which is Microsoft's AI program, and they have like, you can specifically be like, I want it to talk to you about creative endeavors, And then that is where it would go into like creative writing and music and art design. Like you're like, give me a logo, and it'll give you a logo, you know? So a lot of different options to try. But here's the thing. Ultimately, I will not give AI a pass until it can compete with the emotional intensity of Devin Townsend. Oh, the death of music. That's where I got the title for this episode.
Good.
Devin Townsend. So that's the thing. Can AI be as emotional as human written music? Can it?
Yes.
That's a question, Shred.
Only
Shred
that-
says yes.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, we think we're so special as human beings, but I'm sure maybe 6.9 years from now. I mean, when is it when Ray Kurzweil says the singularity's happening? Maybe like
2029.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think definitely in our lifetimes, we're going to find out that AI can replicate our moods, emotions, even write symphonies, brilliant symphonies. Sorry, Beethoven and Mozart, you guys have done. But then the question becomes, well, what do we do as human beings to remain, competitive, and what sets us apart from machines? How are we unique? What do we have to bring to the table,
Those are big questions. And we want to know what you guys have to think, what you guys think about this topic. Is AI good? Is it good for the creative and intellectual pursuits? Is it bad? Is it going to replace metal? If it does, is that okay? Let us know what you guys think about this. It's, we'll be talking a lot more about this because the field is so new. There's going to be new developments all the time, and crazy shit is going to be happening with AI. And so, which again,
email
I'm excited
us
about.
At ratemetalpodcast@gmail.com, right?
Absolutely. And you can also, leave comments on our YouTube, Gmail. I will also say, I have to apologize to everybody. I have not been active for the last couple of weeks. I had to travel back to Michigan. We've had a lot going on with one of our companies back there. And then this week, I'm actually traveling over to North Macedonia. I'm going to be there for a couple of months. I plan on being much more active with the podcast while I'm over there. I'll have a lot more time, and I'm distant from a lot of the responsibilities I have here in the United States. So got a lot of fun stuff in the pipeline coming at you. Okay, speaking of AI and electronic metal, it's time. Coming straight from Japan via London, we have the band Esprit d'Air, or something like that. It's in French, and I can't pronounce French. Huh. This is a Japanese metal band that they formed in London, but they're from Japan. They speak Japanese. Their lyrics are in Japanese. Here's a track called Leviathan. Oh, electronic core at its finest. It's a lot of their videos are like anime. It would fit right in with anime. I also want to shout out because she has the lowest Japanese voice for a female I've ever heard. Most female Japanese vocalists are so high. As a female, I think it's a female. And so
maybe a
really
situation.
Maybe I don't know. But they're electronic core. It's really good. They do a lot of, the beeps and the electronic music in there. It's like the sections get really like almost like trance metal, so it's like dance, trance, metal. They have some really, really cool stuff. So
AI core. That's what we need.
that's what they're talking about. AI core. That's the next
that's
field.
They're calling it that specific name.
I've heard people on Reddit throw that term around, AI core. And there's a channel on YouTube that does 24 hours a day. The guy loaded like 1 million metal songs into this program. And then 24 hours a day, he just broadcasts AI generated gent music. It's really crazy. I'll post that link.
Like that, like, because with gent, is there a band that is named Gent? I guess there isn't, but if you could name your band, the actual genre, then you could get maybe a lot more visibility. It's kind of like, Kleenex is like,
yes,
issue. It's just like the actual company name.
Yeah, that is true.
Up here with my shred brain.
That is very good. You should do it, Shred.
Yes,
you should do it.
I will
Lead
be the
way
one to do it. I will do it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Huge topic. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it. We will not be back next week, but we're going to have a bunch of content starting to come out throughout the week, which is great. But in the meantime, let us know what you think about AI generated metal. And if you want more of it, if it's an enemy, should we be slaying it with our axes? We need to know what you think. So email us, greatmetalpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram and we are on Twitter. I am still trying to figure out what our first tweet should be, but we're at Twitter. Oh, shoot. I don't even know my handle right now. I'll post it. This is terrible.
Make it good.
Anyway. Yeah, make it good. All right, guys. We will catch you next time. And remember that the world ends with you, so make it metal.